Hello and welcome everyone. Today I have the pleasure to introduce you Chander Shankar from Enkindle and Empower, an organization that believes in a mission that everyone can live a life of limitless possibilities. To drive this mission forward, Chander Shankar guides his clients through one-on-one coaching, inspiring through his daily messages on the social media platforms like LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Facebook, and YouTube videos, and a vision how to become a more effective person, how to become a better version of yourself. Chander delivers mindset coaching to individuals. He is a certified master coach and a master practitioner from the American Board of Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Today we have the pleasure of having two people, one from Melbourne and one from Sydney, to ask their questions to Chander, pose their problems as to how to navigate change at times of difficult times and times of uncertainty. So first, I'd like to welcome Anant from Sydney. Anant, welcome to the show. What would your question be for Chander today?
Thank you, Satya. Chander, we give so much of our time and energy to get an outcome. Like I give like 100%, but sometimes I feel that I haven't achieved that outcome, whether in work or at home. And that is something which I wonder, is it the methodology or is it my thinking? What can I do to improve on that? Thank you.
Thank you, Ananta. Hello, everyone. The most important, if I can understand your question correctly, you're trying to understand the reasons why our efforts do not meet their outcomes. So the important fact that we need to understand here is what kind of outcomes are we looking for? Secondly, are we really trying to control our outcomes? So what you need to think of is the effect that it's having on yourself and the people around you. When we are trying to understand the control of things, we need to understand that everybody is trying to do the best they can. And when we are trying to control our outcomes, the efforts that we put in can lack somewhere, or they can be more in some cases. What you have to focus on is only your efforts, because you can't really control your outcomes. What you can control is the amount of effort you put in and learn from the results you are getting. The results that you get are of direct feedback of your efforts. And what you have to understand very, very clearly is once you put in your efforts with 100% intent and discipline, the results will come. It might be late, or it might not be exactly what you want, but it will definitely give you a pathway to the things that you want to get.
But how about the timeline and the deadline?
The timelines and deadlines, they will come. That's what the challenge is, to set a timeline. And if you don't get in the timeline you get, the results that you want in the timeline, we actually tend to lose motivation. We tend to lose the focus. But that's why discipline is very important. You need to understand how to keep maintaining that discipline, how to keep putting your efforts, and learn from each and every feedback that you're getting. So there is no such thing as failure. There is only feedback. So if you're not getting the results, you need to keep moving and keep trying different things. Keep learning from those efforts. Keep learning from all the feedback that you're getting, and keep moving forward. So that's the whole idea behind our efforts. We try to control our outcomes, but the idea is not to control our outcomes. The idea is to learn from what we are working on, how much effort we are putting, and the results that we get is a direct feedback. and how we can work through those is what success will look like for us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chander. I think that resonated very well. If I could just summarize that in a few words, what you're suggesting is that not everything is under our control, especially the outcome that we are seeking. There are micro factors and macro factors that impact our decision. I guess what I took out from there, the key is how do we respond to those micro factors, what we learn, and how do we actually take that feedback and apply those learning. So there's a direct correlation between effort and result. The pathway forward in terms of timeline is that, there's nothing which is 100%, but you keep learning and you'll get the results. It might not be what you intended, but it will be always in the positive direction.
Right.
Thank you very much, Chander, for that insight. Really appreciate that.
I'll
move on to our next speaker today, or the next person who's has a question for Chander. Harsh, welcome, Harsh. Harsh is from Melbourne.
Thank you, Satya. Good day, everyone. Today, I would want to ask about a situation wherein there are people, they could be your friends, relatives, or your best mates, who are constantly pulling you down, create that negative energy around you, backbiting. So how to keep oneself focused in the presence of negative people around us? So I just would want to know your thoughts about it, Chander. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Harsh. So if I understand your question correctly, you want to know how do we deal with negative people around us all the time, and how do we deal with the mindset, and how do we keep ourselves focused on what we really want, along with how people are there in the negativity, with the negativity around you. So
that's right.
The important thing here is to understand what we want, right? The factors that are not in our control, we can't do much. So we need to understand that people are doing the best they can with the resources they have. We need to detach people from their behaviors. So if there are people who are negative, so we have to acknowledge and accept that that's the best behavior they can do with what their beliefs are. And in our condition, in our state, what we are thinking is, what do we want? Are we impacted by the people around us? How are we emotionally resilient? How much are we resilient in that situation? How can we use our emotions? How can we be guided by our emotions? So if somebody is negative around us, how does that help us? That's the learning we need to take from it. So maybe people who are negative around us gives us a learning that that's not how I want to be, right? So that can be a learning from that situation. Now, if and we also want to understand how that everybody is our well-wisher. If somebody is criticizing us, or somebody is giving us a feedback that we don't want, maybe they have a different perception of how you should live. They are your well-wishers. How do they need you to live? So how in their perfect world you would work? So if we keep that mindset with us, we will not be impacted by the negativity. We will in fact be even inspired by people around us, even if they think negatively or they think positively. What we want and how we live is our choice. Thank you for that question. That was really, really great.
Absolutely. Thank you for the valuable inputs. I've jotted down a couple of points and I'm going to work on them. Thank you, Chander. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harsha. Thanks, Chander. I think the key takeaway that I took from here is that people react to circumstances, and what we need to look at is how do you actually detach people from their behaviors, and how best we manage our emotional intelligence. That was really insightful. Thank you very much, Chander. I hope those questions were enlightful and meaningful for the audiences. Thank you once again, Harsha. Thank you once again, Anand.
Thank you, Anand, and thank you, Harsha. Wonderful questions. Thank you.
Thank you.